Are we good in the back? Okay. No. Are you good? Okay, good evening, everyone. I will now call this planning work session of the Fayette County Board of Education to order. A Happy New Year, 2026. And as soon as, thank you, Ms. Jackson. And Ms. Jackson, once you're settled in, I'll ask that you take roll.
Good evening. Amanda Ferguson,
Present.
Amy Green,
Present.
Tyler Murphy,
Present.
Kenny Christian,
Present.
Monica Mundy.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I'm sorry about that. I'd like to welcome everyone joining us for tonight's meeting. Before we begin our agenda, I want to briefly remind our community that prior to and during board meetings, beginning this month, we have district staff available in room 159 to display key dashboards and provide hands-on support and training for anyone who would like to better understand how to access the information or information included on those dashboards. And tonight was the first time offering this service, and we hope that it was useful. These dashboards are designed to clearly communicate how the district is managing resources, tracking progress, and aligning decisions with student outcomes and long-term sustainability. This effort reflects our ongoing commitment to transparency, informed government, and meaningful public engagement rooted in facts. Our first matter of business is the adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting. If there are no changes, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda for tonight's meeting as presented. Is there a motion?
I move we accept tonight's agenda as presented.
Motion by Board Member Green. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Mundy. All in favor of adopting the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. At this time, I'll turn the agenda over to Superintendent Liggins to lead us through the action item.
Thank you, Chair Murphy. Good afternoon, everyone. Our sole action item for this evening is the contract with Trader Commercial Properties and Trazen Asset Advisories to assist the district with the sale of the former Southside Technical Center building and property. As you know, the sale of the property was discussed during the adoption of the fiscal year 2026 working budget back in September. With the opening of the Hub for Innovative Learning and Leadership this fall, the Southside building is no longer in use and is given its prime location on Harrisburg Road. We're hopeful that the sale of the building will draw significant interest. If you have any question, our Chief Operating Officer, Myron Thompson, will answer those this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Liggins. Any questions for Mr. Thompson? Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract with Schrader Commercial Properties and Transon Asset Advisors. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Board Member Mundy. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Christian. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the December 18th, 2025 regular meeting of the Fayette County Board of Education. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Board Member Christian. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Green. Questions on adoption of the minutes of the December 18th meeting? Any discussion? All in favor?
I'll abstain since I was not.
Okay, that will be noted. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items for the planning meeting, which will be the leave, extended trips, and shortened school day. Is there a motion to approve those consent items?
I move we approve the consent items as listed.
Motion by Board Member Green. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Mundy. Questions on the consent items for the planning meeting? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Our planning work session is a chance to review the agenda for the action meeting later in the month and allow time for extended presentations and discussions. So at this time, I'll turn the agenda over to Superintendent Liggins to lead us through the items that will be on our regular meeting agenda. And as usual, he and his staff are available to answer any questions we may have regarding any agenda item. If there are any questions they're unable to answer this evening, we will ask that the superintendent compile a list of those questions and provide the board those as follow-up. Superintendent Liggins.
Thank you, Chair Murphy. At our action meeting on January 26th, the moment of silence, Pledge of Allegiance, and the reading of the mission statement will be led by Board Member Vice Chair Amy Green. And under our superintendent's report this evening, I would like to ask the Director of Career and Technical Education, Amanda Wickersham, to provide an update on the incredible work happening around post-secondary readiness here in Fayette County Public Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Liggins. Good evening, everyone. So this presentation is about the wonderful growth we have had in post-secondary readiness. We are focusing on our strategic priority, student achievement, and future and life ready for our portrait of a graduate. Post-secondary readiness is the attainment of knowledge and skills necessary for a student to transition to the workforce or post-secondary education. This directly aligns with our future and life ready promise that we give to every single student. It is 20% of high school accountability. There are two columns of indicators. They are academic and career. We are going to focus on career today. We're going to discuss what schools are doing, what the district is doing to make sure every single student graduates both of those. So just to familiarize ourselves with post-secondary readiness, elementary, middle, and high have the following indicators, and high school has post-secondary readiness and the graduation rate, which equals their overall score. And here are the indicators. On the left-hand side, you will see academic readiness, and on the right-hand side, you'll see career readiness. I get support from Brooke Stinson and many others on the left-hand side for academic readiness. You'll see college readiness benchmarks, AP IB exams, a C or higher in dual credit. But my primary focus is what's on the right, and that's what we're going to be championing today. So at the top of the list is industry certifications. We have CTE end of program assessment. We have 3 hours of CTE dual credit, and we have work-based learning. But it's important to note that these indicators are achievable as a result of students participating in career and technical education pathways. And that although we have a tendency to look at these from an administrator and accountability hat, it's really important to note that this is the return on investment for our students. So for an industry certification, students, for example, management and entrepreneurship is a pathway that is at all 6 of our A1 high schools. Another example would be construction and heavy equipment that is at the Hill. A student has an opportunity to choose one of these pathways, and going through the course sequence, they get these experiences. The very first one is industry cert. This is one of 2 assessments through the CTE pathways. An industry certification can be used in industry. So if a student wanted to, for example, if they're in the computer science pathway, they can take IT specialist, Python exam, and then use that on an application to apply for a position. They're also at this point creating their own businesses using these industry certs, so we're super proud of them. The second assessment is end of program. This is an assessment that is created by KDE based on the standards that are taught within the courses. So there's lots of district support that happens with these first 2. We have CTE instructional specialists. They are the boots on the ground. They're in the classrooms. They're helping teachers align standards for the curriculum. They're coaching. They're providing instructional strategies. And then, of course, our teachers are doing the hard labor, making sure that our students are getting the transferable skills within those classes in order to be successful in those assessments. And then we have CTE dual credit. A few years ago, we aligned all of our CTE dual credit with the high school office to make sure that BCTC, we had all of those aligned, and we are expanding that to EKU and others. Statistics show that our students attend BCTC and EKU more than any other post-secondary institution, but we continue to expand those. And then the last one is work-based learning. We continue to review all of our processes here to make sure the structures are in place, that students know who to go to, how to sign up for one of those. opportunities, and that every kid gets an opportunity to do it. So that takes us to our celebration. So at the top left corner, you can see a 4-year trend for post-secondary readiness for the district. And it is 24-25 senior data. And we've had an 11% increase both this year and last year, in addition to a 9% increase in the number of students completing CTE dual credit, an 11% increase in students passing an industry cert, and a 7.4 increase in students completing work-based learning opportunities. So we are super happy about that progress and extend our gratitude to schools for making it a priority within their buildings. On the right-hand side, you can see that we are in the green. We love that color. And I know that Bryan Station is going to be bragging in just a moment when they are in the blue. So we have lots to celebrate. Last year, we celebrated Tates Creek High School with a 30% increase in career readiness. And this year, we are celebrating Bryan Station High School with a 20% increase in career readiness. If we could just give some snaps or claps. And so with that being said, I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Hale, Executive Principal for Bryan Station High School.
Come on up here, Stephen. There we go. First of all, as a proud member of the high school cadre, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the high school administrators and principals for pushing the relevancy behind the education that we're providing here at Fayette County Public Schools, and ensuring that our students are getting opportunities and accessibility to be able to show what they know and are able to do as it relates to post-secondary readiness. So as Ms. Wickersham showed on there, it's not just one school, but holistically, we are doing amazing work as principals of our high school office and our students and our staff. I'm Eric Hale, the Executive Principal for the Academies of Bryan Station High School. So, few things here. Just before I get started, I know we're talking about post-secondary readiness, but I want to specifically talk about Station in general. So there's 3 things that we talk about at Station on a daily basis. If you've been in my school in the morning announcements, or if you've listened to any of the graduation speeches over the last several years, we talk about what it means to be a defender. We talk about presence, performance, and pride. And presence, as it relates to post-secondary readiness, presence matters. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there because you belong there. That matters now, and it matters the rest of your life. Performance, our performance matters now, and I'll turn it over to Stephen here in just a few minutes, and him talking about some of his performances and his performance now, but it also matters the rest of your life, your performance does. And last but not least, pride. And it says take pride in our school, but we also emphasize belonging to something greater than ourselves. And when we work as in career fields or whatever the case may be, our success rate is a little higher when we feel like we belong to something that's bigger than us. So I want to make sure that I mention this and brag on our school community. And that's stationed in those pictures. We have a good time, and we celebrate our students and our staff. All right, so Station specifically post-secondary readiness. You'll look over the last several years, you see the common trend each year of increase, the upper trends that you'll see there, starting from the 21-22 school year with a 62.74% post-secondary readiness, all the way to last year when we hit 98.5%. So a little bit within that on the academic side of things, we saw a 4% increase in academic readiness, 20% increase in career readiness, a 17.2% increase in successful passing of some of the CTE dual credit courses that Ms. Wickersham was mentioning earlier. And last but not least, a really good highlight for us is a lot of our kids are working. They're providing for their families and themselves and their household. 35% increase of the number of seniors who graduated, who completed the work-based learning opportunities and criteria set forth by the Kentucky Department of Education. On the right there, yes, green is by far our station's favorite color. However, we are proud to be a blue school in this particular area. Yes. And it's not by accident. It's about a lot of the work that's been put in, but collectively by our school community, our teachers, our students, their buy-in, our families, and quite frankly, just systematically what we do is keeping the student experience at heart. And how do we create opportunities for our students in order for them to be able to get exposed to what opportunities are out there for them. So who's contributing? Just a quick snapshot. This is every student group. We're the most beautifully diverse high school in the state of Kentucky. And all of our students are performing at a high level as it relates to the relevancy behind post-secondary readiness. As Ms. Wickersham had mentioned earlier, these are not easily attained. It's not like you're just automatically given this. Our kids earn it. They earn it through their hard work, their dedication, and their commitment to showing what they are able to do, not just at the end of their high school career, but throughout their high school journey at Bryan Station High School. So how'd we get here? So we call this the school success formula. Talking about system structures and processes. Having system structures and processes by themselves doesn't get it. We also have to build our staff's capacity collectively in being able to implement those system structures and processes. So when you talk about system structures and processes, you're talking about the flow, the framework, and the step-by-step and how we do things. But simultaneously, though, we don't forget like what it means to meet people where they're at and their understanding to implement it, and also creating those connections with our kids and our staff members in order for them to be able to implement those, our tonight, the post-secondary readiness structures that we have at our school. And normally, one without the other is where oftentimes you can get frustration, and initiatives oftentimes will fail as you have a system in, but people are maybe not sure how to implement it. So with our academy structure that we have, that's a system and structure that we have at the school where we take our students, 2,000 students in our high school and 200 staff members. So we split it up into small learning communities and within our career academies. And so we all own this. Not only does it go from a large 2,000 student school to small learning communities within the academy structure, but even more importantly, our academies own, on the right there, you'll see some charts that we utilize as part of our system. But we are providing individualized support for our students. We name our students, we claim our students, we dive into what our students need from us, whether it be to show an academic benchmark and or a career benchmark throughout their journey and while attending station. We collectively own it. As a team, it's our administrators, our counselors, our CCR coach, CTE leads, CTE teachers, and also our academy teachers. The second bullet point there talks about academic and career access and opportunities. Again, we just try to remove as many barriers that may or may not exist and get our kids into places and seats at tables that they deserve and they belong. And last but not least, when you're trying to prepare students for the real world and the relevancy of beyond high school, it's important for us to collaborate with our industry partnership, our business partners, to find out what is it that our kids need to be prepared for in order to be successful. Here's what we're doing. Is there something we need to do a little different in order to meet the demand of what you're all seeing now? Now I'm going to turn it over to the star of the show. Now, he's not performing at the Super Bowl this year, okay? So sometimes he gets mistaken for Bad Bunny, but this is our superstar, though. He might fill in if needed, but this is our superstar here. I want to turn it over to Mr. Steven Solorzano.
First, I want to say thank you for having me here. I'm Steven Solorzano. I currently go to Bryan Station High School as a senior. I'm part of the IT Academy as in the pathway of cinematography. And I really want to talk about a little bit of my experience going to station, some of my experience I had. I took cinematography as one of my passions since I was a little kid. Since I was 5 years old, my first ever video I ever created, still on YouTube. You can find it. Somewhere you can find it. But at Bryan Station and some of my CTE classes I've taken, from video, studio, film to broadcasting, it's been a great experience. And at Bryan Station, I've been to take dual credit classes that, like math and English at BCC, that led me to where I am right now, working at Fayette County as an intern for the media team back there. And if you want to sit right now, like literally a couple hours ago, I was here setting this room up to make sure that every single one of y'all can actually be heard recently. So, and then there's a couple of ones like we did Day of Schools. That was really fun. I get to learn. And then Robert back there with, making sure that everything was in place. But I have great opportunities at Bryan Station. I would work from portrait of a graduate with the Office of Innovation that gave me the feedback from students from different schools, running a student-led organization that's called Positive Productions, the student-led media group here at Fayette County, and multiple students can get through, and student-led, so there's technically no adult, but there is, a student that, like, who leads it, making sure the budget goes well, making sure the students get, and then food gets spread out. So that's for my career experiences. Academically, as I said, dual credit has been great. I think in a bunch of AP classes, I've recently passed English language, and right now I'm taking dual credit for English and other, Spanish one for Kentucky State University. But and some of like for go back to careers, some of my certifications for careers have been Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere Pro, Illustrator, and After Effects. So that's some of my industry certs I've taken throughout my experience throughout Fayette County. And just to wrap it up, I want to say thank you for all the opportunities y'all given me in Fayette County. I've been here since I was in second grade. I just came from another country, from Venezuela. Recently, when I was 2016, came to this beautiful city of Lexington, and I got amazing opportunities here at Fayette County. I want to say thank you to all of y'all for giving me all the stuff.
Thank you, Stephen.
To wrap it up,
If you want to stay behind, you can tell us some Robert and Linda stories.
yeah, we really probably needs a wig. I'm not gonna lie. But I want to, yeah. So, any questions from y'all that y'all want to ask?
Thank you. One question I often ask is, what is something that you think someone not familiar with Fayette County Public Schools should know about Fayette County Public Schools that might surprise them?
Students come. One thing I will always say is that students come first in this district. Students, like, we can always say about, oh, we need this from the adults employees, but students come. If we don't focus on the student, nothing will happen. Nothing will go forward in whatever district you go. So I always here at Fayette County, students always come first. They always look at the student saying, this is what the student needs, and this is what we're gonna go for. Instead of looking for it from the other perspective, from an adult side, they always look at the student's perspective first. So I always say that's a great thing from this district, that students always.
I appreciate that. Any questions, board members, for Stephen? Board Member Green?
Chair Murphy, thank you. At first, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming and sharing your experiences, how much you've enjoyed. And I'm sure it was a perseverance to get through some of these opportunities, but all of your industry certifications are phenomenal. And so going out and getting those after you're in high school is a big deal. And so the fact that you're doing them during your high school years is phenomenal. So I hope your future employers hear that you're already prepared. And you have that drive to do that for yourself. So thank you for sharing that. And also on the academic side, it's a choice to take those harder classes, and you've made those choices. You've stepped up every day and shown up, and you're just one of our many students that we are so blessed to serve. So thank you for being such an exemplar example of our students. And I'm just so excited for you. I'm excited that you get to work with our team here. It's a stellar team. I'm excited that you get these experiences, and I'm so mostly excited to see where you go in the future. So please keep us in mind to come back and tell us your success stories. And thank you for blessing us with your story.
Thank
But Board Member Christian?
It's going to be short. Board Member Green, you mentioned choice. And when it comes to CTE, really, at its core, it's about what the student wants, right? This is that choice, finding that place, finding that niche. Can you talk, either one of you, can you speak to how you're supported in terms of finding that right fit? When the student comes in and says, I think I want to do this, where should I be? Can you talk about that process and how it's student-driven and supported?
Here at Station, when you go first walk in, you're in as a freshman, you put in the freshman academy. that gets you to explore all around. In like in a couple days, we're gonna have a showcase for all the academies, so you get to see each academy's like stuff, what they do. So at Station, we give a bunch of opportunities for those students who, hey, this is what I want to do. Go explore that with career expos, do tours through our building, and couple days later, we're gonna have a showcase that are shown by students, so they know, so students are able to say, this is why I chose this. Maybe this is the right fit for you.
How did you get plugged in? How did you get connected, Stephen, to the creative media team? How did that opportunity come about?
So it's a long process. So first, Eric Neely, who's now the Bryan Station Middle School principal, but beforehand he got the job of academy career coach. And last year, he came to me during the innovation showcase during that time, and he said, "You want to work this internship for the creative media team?" And then during the summer, I had to bother Robert for I had to send him 3 emails and a bunch of other stuff to get him to be like, "Hey, am I good or am I waiting? I'm still on the hold." And eventually we got it done right before the school year started, and I was able to intern here.
Awesome, very good. Well, we are glad you're here, and we're proud of you. We know this is just the beginning, so we hope to see you back. And Principal Hell, thank you for sharing the data with us, which speaks for itself. I mean, and I know that you're not inclined to brag on yourself, but we're looking at the 2024 Kentucky Principal of the Year, and yes. And seeing the results at Bryan Station, it's no wonder why, and it doesn't happen by accident. And those results are repeated across the district. And you alluded to your graduation speech. After attending 6 now graduations of Bryan Station High School, I always enjoy the immense pride that you have in the work that's happening in Bryan Station each and every day. Exemplified by Stephen here, and his story is one of countless others that have gone through the doors of Bryan Station, and all the reason for us to have pride in the North Side. And I know you do, I know your community does, and all of the families who you support do as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, Board Member Monday.
Thank you for being here, Stephen. And I'm glad that you've been able to take advantage of so many different opportunities on both sides, on the career side and the academic side as well. I did have one quick question. On the green chart, there was a bonus count when we were looking at career readiness, the rate without bonus. What is the bonus?
So the Kentucky Department of Education classifies particular industry certifications as high demand. And so if it's a high demand industry cert, which they encourage students to prepare students for the job opportunities that'll be there, that are open currently and or they anticipate being open and in demand, high demand in the future. So they give what they call a 0.25 industry certification bonus. About 10 years ago, if you were academic and career, you got a 1.5. It's not that anymore. It's just solely based upon the industry certifications within a high demand area.
Thank you.
Thank you, board members, Amanda, Stephen, and Eric. Following the superintendent's report at our action meeting later this month, there will be an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items on the agenda. And then after the public meeting on the 26th, the board will consider the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the following items. Rodney Jackson is available to answer any questions that you may have about the special and other leaves of absence.
Any questions, board members, on those leaves of absence?
Thank you, board members. Next, the consent item for your consideration will be the approved contract with Freedom Tours for scholars from George Washington Carver STEM Academy. for the boys to visit Washington, D.C. for an educational field trip. That field trip is covered by fundraising and individual contributions at the school level, but because of the size of the contract, it does require board approval. We have Matt Marsh, Chief School Leadership Officer, here to answer any questions about that.
Any questions from Mr. Marsh, board members?
Chair Murphy,
Board Member Green.
this is just a question in general when we have our large group do city visits. If there is a chance that to kind of get a presentation back, and it doesn't have to be a long one, even just kind of a slideshow to kind of see the experiences our students get to have firsthand, I think that would also be a welcomed report for the board.
I think it's a great idea, and we can pass that along to our schools when they consider trips like this.
Thank you.
Thank you. The second proposed contract is also with Freedom Tours for students from Beaumont Middle School. They will go to Chicago for an educational field trip. Again, the cost of this trip is covered by fundraisers and individual contributions at the school level. And due to the size of this contract, it also requires board approval. Nikita Reed can answer questions about this one if you have.
Any questions, board members?
Thank you. Our next consent item is a routine matter that we revisit annually. It's the calendar of the school board meeting for the 26-27 school year. You'll see that the proposed calendar continues to follow the schedule of the second and fourth Mondays of the month, with few exceptions. For the first two, there are 2 months, July and August, where we would meet on the first Monday. This adjustment is related to the 4th of July and the first day of school. Then we have 3 Thursday meetings to accommodate the holiday scheduling. Are there any questions about this?
And then June and July meetings would be virtual.
Yes.
Any questions, board members, on the proposed board meeting calendar? Superintendent Linger?
Thank you. As you know, as part of our membership of the Kentucky School Board Association, it includes an annual update on policies and procedures due to legislative and legal changes. We usually complete this process in the summer so that we are current with any action from the General Assembly. We have also, however, instituted a process so we can update other portions of the policy and procedure manual as we find outdated information. So tonight's packet for the update reflect those changes. If you have any questions, our General Counsel, Shelley, can do that.
And I will note, some of them you might look at it and you search and think, what changed? Some of the departments wanted to put them in just so we could notate on there that it was reviewed this year, and so it doesn't look like it's 15 years old and nobody's ever looked at it since, so some of them you don't see red lines in, and that is why, because the department just wanted to show, hey, we've looked at this, it's still good. So.
Any questions, board members?
Murphy.
Board Member Green.
I just want to make 2 notes. One, I noticed that there was a substantial amount of work with the family engagement policies and bringing those into line with our practices with the continuous district improvement plan and then the contiguous school improvement plan. So I wanted to share my appreciation. I know that work is a heavy lift. You can see by the amount of different colors that are, so I know those are at least one individual, if not groups of individuals. Thank you for that. And then secondly, I appreciate seeing the fruition of the collaboration of staff and the district about providing feedback about updating our policy for the workers' comp payments for educators who might sustain an injury during the school day. So I appreciate those.
Thank you. And I will say there was a lot of hard work that was put into these, and I mean, I'm just the kind of the conduit for it. There were a lot of departments that put a lot of elbow grease in this, so it's a result of a lot of work.
Thank you. And I do like this cadence of bringing things in January, so we're not just waiting and piling everything on in the summer.
Yeah, this is mostly cleanup. These won't be changes in the law. You'll see those, as you mentioned, Ms. Green, in the spring, early summer.
Let's hope there aren't too many of them. Any other questions, board members? Okay.
Thank you, board members. Our next consent item is acceptance of funding from the School Facilities Construction Commission, also known as SFCC. This state funding is distributed to school districts in Kentucky as money is available in accordance with varying needs across the state. In this instance, we have received an offer of $207,120 to be applied toward annual debt services. These funds must be used for debt service on bonds to be sold for proposed construction on major renovation of facilities listed in the most current approved district facilities plan. The SFCC requires that the board accept or reject the offer no later than February 6, 2026. Rodney is available to answer any questions about that as well.
Any questions for Mr. Jackson, board members? Board Member Green?
The use bond that this year or
Usually will be for a new bond.
new bond? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, board member. Our next three consent items are related to construction. Myron and our Director of Facility Design and Construction, Melinda Joseph DeZorn, can respond to any of those questions.
Any questions, board members, on those construction consent items?
Chairman.
Board Member Green.
I just want to make a note of appreciation. I see here with the Hill, the instructors came in, there was some requests to maybe move some equipment, and that requires a change to the actual facility. And I just really appreciate the district, you all bringing this to us to listen to the instructors and the professional educators and said this might be a change we need to better provide for our students. And so I appreciate that opportunity that you listened and brought that to us. So thank you.
And I also want to draw attention to, I know that the roof at Paul Lawrence Dunbar has been a topic of discussion. We've been doing a lot of, there's a lot of deferred maintenance there, right? We've been doing a lot of patch work. So one of these consent items is for the replacement of the entire roof. Is that correct? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I know that will be much welcome for the folks who are using the garbage cans for whenever a big rain comes. So we're very much looking forward to that. Any other questions, board members?
Thank you. That concludes the consent agenda for January 26th. We have an informational item that I would like to discuss in more detail with you this evening, which is a draft budget for the 26-27 fiscal year. As you know, school boards in Kentucky are required to have three versions of the annual budget: a draft budget in January, a tentative budget in May, and a working budget in September. Many details remain uncertain as estimates are based on historical data and ongoing initiatives. Factors such as board priorities, legislative funding, update, salary schedule changes, tax rates, enrollment projections for the coming year have not yet been determined at this point. So planning for the next year will really begin in February or in early March with the school board budget working session, where we will begin the process of identifying your priorities for the 26-27 school year. Tonight, though, Rodney Jackson and Budget and Staffing Specialist Jessica Williams will present a very broad information about preliminary budget to give the board an overview of this very preliminary budget forecast.
Good evening. We are pleased to present the first step in our annual financial planning of the draft budget for the upcoming fiscal years. This document outlines the financial blueprint ensuring every resource is strategically allocated as a high-quality environment to maximize student achievement. The draft budget reflection of our core commitment to service and accountability to our students and families, staff, and community. As we move forward with renewed commitment to responsible use of public funds and compliance with regulations, we look forward to your partnership as we refine the draft budget and solidify a bright future for all our students. The assumptions and considerations are in the board agenda, and the numbers are reflected as you see on the screen. For the most part, everything is flat. There are a few adjustments of knowns this time, but there are very few knowns at this time. As the legislature not done what they're going to do, and it's too early to do a bunch of stuff. But we do reflect the general fund, and we will also reflect any other change related to that when we get to the tentative and working budget, and we'll reflect all funds at that time. As we do so, our draft budget will be strategic and financial blueprint directly linked to our mission, alignment, and purpose. We will have stakeholder engagement through different meetings and so forth. We will focus on financial stewardship, commitment to conservative, responsible financial stewardship with maintain long-term stability and prepare diligent and unforeseen expenditures. We'll invest in our priorities we put forward to us, and we have a commitment to transparency and using better predictive analysis related to salary checkpoints and so forth. As you recall, the first take point we will have will be at this month's regular meeting, where we talk about the expenses and revenues, how they are so far. Some specific things you will see as far as changes listed is reflected at the beginning balance. We're saying will be $27 million. General property taxes conservatively be $9.6 million. Increase DSC property tax $376,000, and motor vehicle on 1.6. For SEEK, we're going to be very conservative and say it will probably drop about $1.5 million. And with capital lease proceeds, since we're not participating in KISTA for the 2027, we will not receive any associated revenue. For expenditures and salaries, the increase is only related to the step up, nothing else. And we have some changes for utilities and insurance of $115,000 for utilities and $100,000 for insurance. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions, board members?
Chair Murphy,
Board Member Green.
on page 2, can you just remind us about the capital lease proceeds and what that means and why we don't have any right now?
Well, basically, capital lease proceeds, we have a revenue and expense related to it that has to occur. And then based on the timing and when Myron and his team decide that they're going to resell and receive buses, that's when we have to everything related.
Thank you.
Also, while you're on page 2, I do want to just note, and again, you alluded to this because there's still much unknown about SEEK, that the budgeted, or in the draft column, the amount of SEEK is actually reduced. And is that a component of ADA or local effort or a combination thereof?
It's a combination thereof. We've been ultra conservative because we don't want to make it. Now, there's some positives, but I'm not saying it will go through. If things that the governor proposed happen, may help us. But again, many variables have to happen.
Thank you. Any other questions, board members? And again, we have these conversations every year. The draft budget is very preliminary because there's very little detail from which we can operate, especially given the unknowns in Frankfurt right now. And as far as on the anticipation, one more question, I'm sorry. On salaries, I know that was a concern that we had last year. Have we budgeted conservatively on that as well, as far as accounting for experience, retention of folks on the higher end of the salary spectrum?
Yes, we're using better predictive analysis related to that, as you will see when we get to our regular meeting on the 26th. We'll reflect and show you how we get that analysis and how we're utilizing that going.
Very good. Thank you.
Chair Murphy.
Board Member Green.
Thank you. The variance in the salaries and employee benefits, does that relate to the step increase?
Step increase only, no raise. Well,
Right.
Step is a raise, but
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Rodney, and thank you, Jessa, for coming to the table. We also have 2 written reports under the informational section of the agenda, the personnel report and the procedure updates. I will turn the meeting back over to you, Chairman Murphy. We do not have a need to go into closed session.
Thank you, Superintendent Liggins. Our next item of business is where members of the public may address the board on any topic of district-related concern. Fayette County Board of Education Policy 01.45 states members of the public may address the board during the period set aside by the board without submitting an item for the agenda. No action shall be taken during this portion of the meeting on issues raised by employees or the public unless deemed an emergency by the board. Please note, speakers will not be allowed to make any disparaging or critical remarks about individuals or employees of the district. Critical comments or complaints are processed through the district's complaint procedures, which afford the individuals to whom comments or complaints are directed the opportunity for response in due process. Furthermore, members of the public are encouraged to model civil and respectful discourse and conduct. I will ask each member to keep their remarks to 3 minutes or less. We have 4 members of the public, I believe, who have signed up to speak. Our first speaker, and you may just come to the table and sit at the mic where you saw our speakers sit earlier. The timer will begin once you begin speaking. Our first speaker this evening is Tracy Petticord.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Petticord. I am a employee of our district. I'm a special education teacher. I'm also a resident and have 2 children that have graduated from Fayette County and one who is a junior in high school this year. I'd just like to start tonight with January being School Board Appreciation Month. Take the time to sincerely thank you all for your time, dedication, and commitment to our students, staff, and families. While your leadership, thoughtful decision-making, and willingness to serve often go unseen, it makes a meaningful difference every day. We truly appreciate all that you do. Okay, on to why I'm up here. So on behalf of the Fayette County Education Association, and as I mentioned, a special education teacher in our district, I want to first thank you for the considering of the change in policy to support educators who are injured on the job and may be required to use their own personal leave to cover the gaps caused between workers' compensation and/or insurance. This consideration on your part represents a genuine act of appreciation for educators, particularly those who work daily with our most vulnerable students. Your willingness to listen to these concerns and address it in a concrete way speaks volumes about your commitment to supporting the people who serve our students every day. So once again, thank you for your leadership and for your thoughtful consideration. We're hopeful to see a unanimous yes vote in support of this important and necessary policy change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Petticord. Is Heather Cherry is indicated she's yielding time. Is she here? Okay, as long as I just need to know she's here. So our next speaker is Matthew Veed. Heather Cherry has yielded her time to Mr. Veed. So Mr. Veed, you'll have 6 minutes. Mr. Veed, I'm sorry.
Have no recording
No.
of this.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Yes,
Sure.
yes, that's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
Mhm.
All right. So page 8, general fund through period 5, actuals expenditures are $176,906,000. Okay. The actuals through period 5 of last year, $174,741,000. Okay. So those two numbers, you compare those two numbers, actuals through 5 months are up 1.2%. Okay. So then look at the budget. Last year, actuals for the full year, $687 million. Okay. The budget for this year, full year, the budget is $663 million for expenditures. That does not include the $27 million for the contingency, right? Because you shouldn't spend that money. So last year, 687. This year at budget was 663. So you budgeted a 3.4% decline in spending for general fund for the full year. So through 5 months, you're up 1.2%. You budgeted a 3.4% drop. So why all that matters is because if you extrapolate spending for the rest of the year, so if through 5 you're up 1.2%, if you extrapolate that, you're going to spend for general fund through 12 months, a projection would be $695 million. Your budget was $663. So that would mean that you're going to overspend the general fund budget by $31,835,000. That will not be good, because we have a contingency fund. You say we have a contingency fund of $26,387,000, but you are on pace to overspend your budget by $31 million. And so in all of these budget presentations that I've seen, there have been no talks, there have been no guidance as to what are we going to do? When are we going to slow down? Like when is the spending going to slow down so that through 12 months we don't overspend the budget by $31,835,000? We're through 5 in 2 more weeks, assuming we'll get another budget report through 6 months. When is the spending going to slow down? I mean, and so another question, not another question, but we just saw the draft budget. Well, we saw part of the draft budget. I don't have a copy of the detail. I wish I could have seen what we budgeted for the 27 total general fund expenditures to compare that to the budget and to compare that to the through 5 periods actuals. But the thing that jumped out at me, the very little that I saw, we budgeted no change to the contingency, right? So we're saying the contingency, the beginning balance is going to be $27 million again. So there's 2 problems. One I just explained, that we are overspending the budget. We haven't slowed down. We're going to overspend the budget by $31 million. And so I don't know how, if we are on pace to overspend the budget by $31 million, how will the contingency still be $27 million? Where is the money coming from? Now, if you look at the budget document, the revenues through fiscal year 5, period 5, they are up. But is that a timing situation? Are we getting revenue faster? Or have we actually collected more dollars than we expected to? And that would be a great thing. If that's the case, please let us know. Let me know. Let the community know, because that would be a great thing, because you're on pace to overspend your budget by $31 million. And so revenues are going to be higher. If they're going to be higher, please let us know that. The other thing that bothers me about the draft budget, a budgeted contingency of $27 million, is per the policy, per the board policy, per district policy, you got to ask to spend the contingency fund. You guys didn't ask to spend it. You spent it down from 43 to 25.6 or whatever, 25.3. Well, part of the policy says you have to build the contingency back up to 6%. In all of these meetings that I've come to, there has been zero talk about what we are going to do to build the contingency back up. So we're not even, from what I can tell, we're not even planning for it, right? Which is bad, because the policy says, weirdly, you're supposed to do it within a year, but if you don't do it within a year, you got to do it within 3 years. So you have like this, grace period. So we're not doing it within 1. What is the plan for 3? What is the plan for 3 to get back up to 6%? Have they communicated a plan to you? Any details, how they plan to build the contingency back up? Because what they're doing right now is they're overspending their budget. You're on pace to overspend by $31 million. And so unless revenue collections are going to outpace the budget, you're going to be in a $5 million hole. So what is the plan for building the contingency back up? It should be a major topic of these board meetings. What are you doing to build it back up? Because what appears to be the case is that you're doing nothing to build it back up. What you're doing is you're digging a deeper hole, because through 5 periods, you're up 1.2 against a budget of negative 3.4% growth, which puts you on pace to overspend your budget by $31 million. I'm repeating myself because it's important. Very important what's happening.
Thank you for your time. Our next speaker this evening, our last speaker this evening, is Vicki Molstead. You have 3 minutes.
All right. I began this speech last month and hope to finish it tonight. But a brief summary is I'm here on behalf of the 44 summer KEYS evaluators. And KEYS is Kentucky Early Intervention Systems, formerly known as First Steps. By law, children must be evaluated by their 3rd birthday, and one missed timeline results in a corrective action plan. So historically, summer pay has been a stipend for us, which is less than our hourly rate during the school year. Our pay this past summer is the reason I'm here. Before we began, summer teams were promised a certain hourly rate. However, we were told on June 12th that beginning July 1st, that rate would decrease by $5 an hour. This decrease was shocking. We signed a contract with the special education department in the spring that stated we would complete the entirety of the summer caseload for the agreed upon hourly rate. We were doing the same job with the same quality, often with shorter turnarounds because of the need to work around KEYS legal timelines and summer vacations for both parents and staff. When the news about the decreased pay broke, nearly everyone said they would leave on July 1st, which would have required the district to scramble to find coverage or contract out. FCEA was instrumental in working with Dr. Liggins and Chair Murphy on our behalf to honor that promised pay rate. And on behalf of the summer teams, I thank you for honoring that rate. You may think it's in poor taste for me to be here speaking about money given the current financial conversations. However, we want to be a part of supporting the district's dedication to being better stewards of taxpayer dollars. Therefore, we would like you to revisit the KEYS summer pay, which will save the district money in the long run. Many summer staff could be making more than twice what the district pays in a private setting, yet they choose summer KEYS because they know this work is important and because it keeps them connected to early intervention and providing support to families. Most everyone has said they will not return this summer unless the pay is revisited. So what happens if we do not return this summer? Other district professionals with little preschool experience may volunteer for less pay, which sounds good on the surface, but these people will be on a learning curve. Ultimately, it will take them longer to evaluate, interpret results, and write reports. Those additional hours will add up, likely being more than what our hourly rates are. This learning curve could also present opportunities for mistakes to be made, which could then lead to the district into a corrective action plan. On the other hand, the district may be unable to find anyone to work for the lesser rate, so they would need to contract out to have the work completed. And that will definitely cost much more, as many of those contracted people make at least twice what the district pays us. So it's safe to assume that the company the district contracts with will charge much more. Furthermore, contracted personnel likely will not work under the same lens as our professionals who work in a multidisciplinary setting with early childhood education expertise and focused on the triangulation of data for educational impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bolstead. That concludes our public comment period for this evening. Next, I'll entertain a motion to make the agenda dated January 12, 2026, on which action has been taken in this meeting a part of the minutes as if copied in the minutes verbatim. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion by Board Member Green. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Mundy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this regular meeting of the Fayette County Board of Education.
So moved.
Planning meeting, rather, the Fayette County Board of Education. Motion by Board Member Green. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Mundy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you all.